Right, today's little job is the fuel pump on the diesel heater. The one that came with it works perfectly fine, no issues from that point of view, but it is noisy. It's not so bad when I'm using it here in the garage, although it's not ideal. But when I'm camping, you can hear the tick, 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 tick all the time, and I can't get that off. There we go. Cover's held on with 4 clips. That should just lift off, I believe. There we go. Move that out of the way. So I've spent £15 on another pump. Let me just show you where this is. Right, the pump here we'll be swapping out. This is just a bit of pipe lagging that I've put in, because I transport this in the back of my little 4-wheel drive. It does get shaken about a bit, so to stop any of these getting chafed anywhere, I've just put little bits of this in just to keep that right. But yeah, give me a minute, I'll take this out and we'll have a look where the bolts are. The pump I've bought is supposed to be a silent pump, but obviously we'll find out in a minute. Bear with me a second. Right, move the tank out of the way, no need to disconnect it, I've just managed to slide that out. I'll just push that in and that lifts off, so that's the pump unplugged. Obviously you've still got the fuel lines attached, but before we start messing with that, it's only held on with 1 bolt. That's a 10mm, so give me a minute and I'll just undo that. Right, this is the pump I've bought. It does seem a little bit bigger, but it has got a filter on it as well. I've just put a little bit of paper towel on there, so I'm going to disconnect these. I'm not going to bother draining them, so I'll disconnect that, refit it on the top of the new one, and then I'll slide this out of the holder, and hopefully this one will just take its place. Just be as careful as I can with this, I don't want to break anything, so what I'll do, I'll keep this as a spare. So give me a minute. Obviously it goes without saying I've made a mess and I've got diesel on my hands. I really should have worn gloves, but that's now on. Obviously it's only a push fit back on there and back on there. Like I say, this pump is a bit bigger than the one I've taken out, but it looks like it should fit in without any real issue. So I'm just going to put the bolt back in there and reclip that back on. Yeah, that works, that's absolutely fine. mind the pipe clip out the way a little bit. There we are. Right. Come on, it's only one bolt. There we go. Right. Looks like it does stick up a little bit more. We're just having to push the pipe under there. That seems to be fitting in no problem. Right. Give me a minute just to tighten that up. Right, that's now bolted back in. Like I said, this one has a glass filter and it's very close to these edges on the metal, and because this will rattle around in the back of my car, I've just wedged a little bit of something in there just to keep it steady. So we'll put that back on there. There we go. Right, let me just move you a second. Right, we'll connect it up. Obviously at the minute I've got this in the garage and the exhaust does run up and out the wall. If I haven't mentioned it before, if you do get one of these Chinese heaters, just take the lid off and just make sure all the bolts are tight, because one or two of them were only kind of finger tight. So just take it off, there's a few bolts there, just check them, good to go. Right, just to turn it on, just press and hold that, and that should now start going through the process. H3, it's just the heat setting. You've got 1 to, I can't remember if it's 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 now, to be honest. We'll have a look in a minute. Just let that cycle and hopefully the pump will start going, and we'll work out whether it's any quieter and if it was worth the money. I may have said previously, this particular one, I made a very simple base for it. So the air intake and the exhaust are fitted permanently. I don't have to keep taking them on and off. When I have it out on camping, it just sits on the floor and connects power wires to the trailer, which is why I've got a coil of wire. And when it's in the garage, I've just got a car battery that's hooked up, and I just slot a bit of exhaust in now the pump's starting. Well, if I'm perfectly honest, that is quieter than the one that I've taken out, but not by a huge amount. So I'm not going to recommend that one as being a silent pump, if I'm perfectly honest. We'll give it a minute, let it calm down, so I'll switch it back on in a second. Right, two things. There are 6 heat settings on there. Oh, and also when you come to turn it off, just press and hold that again, but leave the power connected. It needs to cycle down, so if you disconnect the power too soon, it doesn't do it any good. I would explain what other buttons do, but I've no idea. I know that's on and off, that's my temperature up and down, and I've never used them. So, but yeah, take it back though, that pump is perfect. So I'll put a link into it in the description below. Right, sorry, I thought I was done. Turns out that button there is for priming the pump. So once you've fitted the pump, make sure you prime it, otherwise you'll get a error code 8. So yeah, there we are. Nice 10-minute job. Definitely worthwhile. See you on the next one.